You are watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV from Toronto, Ontario. I'm Catherine Bullock. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show. Is India really going to host the G20 summit in occupied Kashmir? We will talk to TAZEEN HASAN from Justice for All Canada. But first, some news headlines. Petition to remove Canadian laws stopping aid to Afghans. Concert in remembrance of missing and murdered Indigenous women. York Regional Police seize guns and trafficked substances. Iran denies link with Rushdie's attacker. Now, the details. 15 Canadian humanitarian organisations, including Islamic Relief Canada and World Vision, have launched an online petition that calls on the Canadian government to allow aid to Afghanistan. A law passed in 2013 bans any dealings with the Taliban, which is listed as a terrorist organisation. The charities ask for an humanitarian exception, as have many countries done, including the US. Media report that due to the law, World Vision cancelled a large shipment of food items that would have fed 1,800 children. The petition's goal is to get 5,000 signatures. The 14th annual No Stone Unturned concert was held at St. John's Park in Winnipeg to remember missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. The event offers support to families who have lost their loved ones. It also raises awareness about a sad but integral part of Indigenous history in Manitoba. Thousands of people of all ages and from different walks of life gathered to attend the concert. The event was founded after Claudette Osborne-Teo, a 21-year-old mother, disappeared in Winnipeg in 2008. According to a media source, Bernadette Smith, Osborne-Teo's sister, says that events like these highlight the void felt by the families of missing or murdered Indigenous women and girls. In an ongoing investigation, the York Regional Police Organised Crime and Intelligence Services investigators have unmasked a large-scale gun and drug trafficking network that is operating from Ontario into the United States. The operation, dubbed Project Monarch, is a joint forces operation including several police and intelligence departments in Ontario and the US. The operation started in October last year when the police suspected an individual of trafficking controlled substances. Since then, the joint forces operation has made 22 arrests and laid around 400 charges. The police have also recovered trafficked substances valued around $1.3 million. Iran on Monday denied any link with the attacker of British author Salman Rushdie. Rushdie, the 75-year-old writer, was left on a ventilator with multiple stab wounds after he was attacked at a literary event Friday in upstate New York. The suspected assailant, 24-year-old Hadi Mata from New Jersey, was wrestled to the ground and taken into police custody. According to Mata's mother, the young man was radicalized during his Lebanon visit in 2018. The police believe Mata's attack was religiously motivated. Mata has pleaded not guilty to attempted murder and assault. The attack on Rushdie comes at a sensitive moment when Iran is in talks with major powers for the relifting of US sanctions, which have left Iran's economy crippled. And that's it for the news. Jammu and Kashmir is an internationally recognized disputed territory up on the top of Pakistan and India. It arises from the 1947 partition of British India at independence. In 2019, India removed Kashmir's special status as an autonomous region, incorporating it as a union territory, meaning administered by the Indian government. To talk to us today about the possible location of the G20 summit upcoming 2023, we are joined by TAZEEN HASAN, Free Kashmir lead for Justice for All Canada. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the show.
Walaikum assalam, Sister Kathy. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. There's an idea that India is going to host the G20 summit in occupied Kashmir. What do we know about this?
Basically, at the end of June, Indian Express published this news. I didn't find anywhere else in international media, but Chinese newspaper Global Times actually repeated that news, and some Indian news channels are celebrating that. Pro Hindutva, pro BJP Indian news channels are celebrating this news.
And is India a confirmed host for the G20?
Yeah, exactly. G20 in 2023. India is confirmed host. Exactly.
So now the Indian media is floating the idea that it will happen in occupied Kashmir.
Exactly. Basically, it seems to be a diplomatic victory by the channels which are celebrating that. Pro Hindutva, pro BJP Indian channels are celebrating that, as I said. It seems to be a diplomatic victory that India wants to show that everything is normal in Kashmir after the revocation of Article 370, or the revocation of autonomy of Jammu and Kashmir. But it seems to be a very, very, very ambitious project.
Well, it's a very provocative move. What do you think's on their mind?
Basically, they want to show the world that everything is normal. People are happy. People in Kashmir are happy with what India is doing, and Kashmir is a crucial part of India.
I saw comments under some of those Indian news articles that you were talking about, all people saying, oh, this is a great move, good on India. Kashmiris will understand that India's, the best place for them to be. What a bold move. Have you heard any feedback from Kashmiris?
I talked to some of the journalists from Kashmir, and they told me, first I confirmed the news that is India going to host G20 2023 in Kashmir or not? And they told me that the main event will be held in Delhi, but in the capital of India. But G20 has several events at a time. So some of the events India may try to organize in Kashmir. And the journalist, or I will call them expert on Kashmiri politics, they also say that India is trying to test the world. Is the world is going to buy this news? This may be just a rumor, but they may try to help some of the events in Kashmir. But as I told you, it is very ambitious for India. More than 5 million, half million Indian troops are already stationed in Kashmir to maintain the Indian occupation of Kashmir. And the entire civil and political leadership of Kashmir is imprisoned. Press club is banned. Journalists are harassed. Human rights defenders are detained on fabricated charges, on money laundering charges. Kashmir, and then there are military checkposts on each and every corner of Kashmir.
So you say it's ambitious, but under those conditions of basically like repression, which could lead to street safety, maybe it's doable.
I wonder how much more troops are needed to show the world that Kashmir, everything is normal in Kashmir.
And do you think that the Kashmiris will do something to destabilize if this goes ahead?
It is very hard for Kashmiris, half million troops, more than half million troops in an area that is 135 by 32 kilometers, 135 kilometers long and 32 kilometers wide. It's a small valley. It's the most militarized region of the world. So it's very hard for Kashmiris to resist. But there are some resistance fighters. Of course, there are some, and according to BBC, there are only 200 resistance fighters in Kashmir. So if you can imagine, more than half million troops, 200 resistance fighters. So there are, we know about Kashmir that there are human rights violations, search and cordon operations every now and then, military checkposts at every corner, arbitrary detentions of citizens, children.
Yeah, that's why you're saying it will be difficult to be normal, because how can you invite tourists to a summit and have military checkpoints on every corner? Do you think that they're planning a different strategy for the actual time if it happens?
What I assume, India is testing the world. If the G20 leaders they follow the Indian strategy, if they are following the Indian advice of organizing that in Kashmir, and they do not protest, United States, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and many other countries are part of G20. So India is testing them. If they don't object on that, definitely it will give more courage to Indian aggression.
Well, there aren't very many Muslim majority countries in the G20, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. How likely are they to protest?
Turkey will definitely protest. Turkey actually protested when India revoked the autonomy of Kashmir in 2019. Uh, Indonesia may protest. Saudi Arabia, I can't say for sure. It depends on Pakistan's diplomatic efforts. China has objected. China and Pakistan has already objected on this move.
And what about Canada? I assume at your organization, which is called Justice for All Canada, you're now going to go into heavy lobbying mode to get the Canadian government to protest?
Definitely, we are planning a campaign on that, a letter writing campaign for the Prime Minister, for Foreign Minister. We are going to meet Foreign Minister, and then we are going to lobby with some of the members of parliamentarians.
And what
we
are
are going to issue some of.
What are the chances that they'll say, yes, we'll protest?
Actually, we have already started. Last Friday, I met MP Blake Desjardins from Edmonton, Griesbach riding, and he agreed. He agreed to protest the organization of G20 in Kashmir. So he is likely to do something. He told us that he's going to take action on that. But we will have to lobby. We will have to work hard.
And how long do you have? Like, what's the projected date of this event? How long do you have to lobby?
It will be most probably it's in March or April 2023. So we have time, but these things takes time. Advocacy is a slow process.
And in the unfortunate event that you fail and the summit gets held there in occupied Kashmir, what's it going to mean for Kashmiri hopes for self-determination?
Definitely, it will cause damage to the Kashmiris' struggle of self-determination. But Kashmiris are very courageous people, as they've shown. They have been struggling for their free right of self-determination, their fundamental right according to the UN Charter, since about 1947. So hope they are not going to give up.
Do you think it might have an unintended benefit when people go, for example, to occupied Palestine and they see the conditions? Sometimes it makes them more aware of what's going on versus this, long distance where we don't always understand what's going on. Perhaps if people go there and see the checkpoints or the conditions.
The world will definitely look into the Kashmir. Definitely, Western newspapers, international news outlets are going to publish, and they will mention Kashmir conflict. They will mention that Kashmir is a disputed territory according to 17 United Nations resolutions. So it will divert attention to Kashmir. But as you know, that the Western world and the Western world international institutions have been buying Indian narrative. They have been ignoring the India's aggression into Kashmir and India's aggression against the minorities, especially the political leadership has been ignoring that. So we are trying to work with political leadership in Canada, political leadership in the United States. We are also working with some other human rights organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Indian Civil Rights Watch, and some of the organizations who are working for the civil liberties in India. So, and of course, United Nations. Some of the United Nations rapporteurs, they have objected on some of the moves of India, but largely Indian aggression has been ignored by the world until now.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but if anyone wants to know more about the campaign, they can go to your website, which I assume is something like justiceforallcanada.org.
Exactly, justiceforallcanada.org. They can find our Save India from Fascism campaign, from Free Kashmir campaign, Save Uyghur campaign, and other such campaigns.
Joining us. We're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please share, like, and subscribe. Stay safe and God bless.